Someone recently asked me the following question. I've begun using lacto-fermented foods in my diet, but wanted to know what your step-by-step for total gut cleansing would be the natural way. I've gotten my husband on board and we both are in need of an overhaul from the inside out. I get this question or something similar at least weekly. Many people want to get healthy, but simply don't know where to begin, especially when it comes to their diets. This person is specifically asking about gut health, and it's a great question and a great starting point for making changes that improve your overall health because gut health impacts everything. If you have a poor diet, if you've consumed rounds of pharmaceutical drugs like antibiotics that have harmed your gut microbiome or even damaged the mucosa, as can be the case with NSAIDs, then you'll experience the painful ripple effects of that in many other areas of the body, from gastrointestinal issues, frequent infections, and reproductive health to brain fog, fatigue, cardiovascular issues, endocrine disorders, and more. It can all be linked back to gut health in some way. So this person is asking the right question and on the right path. And if you're here, then you're asking the right question too. Every herbalist, every health website, every guru, every health coach, doctor has different opinions on what's the right diet. Ultimately, the only thing that's right is what's right for you. The diet that provides the nourishment and the nutrients that you need and allows you to feel vibrant, focused, and energized. This right diet for you will involve both eliminating foods that are nutrient deficient and inflaming, as well as adding foods, herbal medicine, supplements perhaps that are supportive. Don't always think of diet as what you need to take away, because it also involves adding to what you're already doing to perhaps fill nutrient gaps so that you feel improvement. In order to know what changes need to be made, you have to understand where you're starting and where you're going. This is different for every person, but I think there is a general path toward improvement that most can walk. Your first step is to be honest, to do an honest assessment of your current diet. It can be very easy for us to think we're doing better in the food department than we actually are. We don't think we're eating as many sweets as we actually do. Additionally, big agriculture and these large food companies that own most of our food make it extremely hard for you to know what you're actually eating. Just this year, in January of 2022, were companies mandated to tell us what's genetically modified or not. What exactly is natural flavor? This is where companies get to hide ingredients. You think you're eating something that's good for you because it's labeled as healthy on the front of the box, but you don't look at the ingredients or understand the nutrition label, so you unknowingly consume harmful for you ingredients and add to your sodium, fat, and sugar load. Before you make any changes, here's what I recommend. Spend 2 weeks logging all of your food and beverages. Yes, keep a daily food journal and write down what you eat, how much of it you ate, when you ate it. Don't change a thing and try to be good, like you're taking a test. It's best to look at your habits as they are. If you eat out for lunch every day, then write that down, including the restaurant and what you ordered. Get specific too. If you ate chicken wings, write down how many and how are they prepared, baked, stewed, fried. Be honest. If you ate French fries, don't say potatoes, okay? Write down fries. Keep track of all of the snacks and the drinks too. And write down if something was homemade, as in fully made from scratch, partially prepared, or fully processed. An example of this is lasagna. If it's homemade, then that means you're making the sauce and you're rolling your own noodles. If it's partially prepared, you're using boxed noodles and maybe your favorite brand of marinara sauce or packaged Italian sausage. And if it's fully processed, then that means that someone else made it. Maybe you got it from a restaurant, the frozen section, or the prepared foods aisle in the grocery store. Yes, I'm getting granular here because not all food is the same. In general, the more you cook at home, the better it will be. Restaurants, whether it's your chic date night spot or your favorite fast food joint, all put more sugar, more fat, more salt than you would likely ever use in a home-cooked meal. And the same goes for most prepared and processed foods. Overall, if you regularly consume like restaurant and processed foods and drinks, then your intake of refined sugars and carbs, saturated fats, sodium, as well as chemicals like pesticides, herbicides, antibiotics, coloring, and preservatives is going to be high. You'll also be consuming more foods and ingredients that inflame, inhibit beneficial bacterial growth, and are nutrient deficient. Are common food triggers too, like dairy, soy, gluten, and corn, and overall add to your toxin load. These foods, while they may taste great on the tongue, provide comfort, and maybe a jolt of energy, are highly addictive and overall hinder your health and contribute to a lot of diseases. This I know for sure, and I think many of people who work in wellness would agree. If your diet is mostly processed, you can't improve your physical or mental health without changing it. But for many reasons, including lack of access and education, socioeconomic status, time constraints, real talk, it's hard to make drastic shifts from a highly processed diet to an organic, wholesome, and home-cooked one. And that is ideally where you're heading with your dietary improvements. When we're on this path to gut wellness, we want to move away from what hurts and toward what helps, like more raw and cooked vegetables, fruits, nuts, seeds, high fiber, complex carbohydrates, healthy proteins and fats, and organic everything when and if possible. Of course, you have to also take into consideration your own food allergies, your triggers, your dietary preferences as well. If you spend 2 weeks eliminating like one at a time, common food triggers like soy, dairy, gluten, and corn, or other foods that you think may be aggravating to your constitution, then you reintroduce it and you experience physical symptoms, then that's a great indicator of what foods you personally need to stay away from. But our first step is for 2 weeks, log all of your food and drinks. There are many food journals and templates on the web. Download one or a few, or just use a blank piece of paper. Don't let this step trip you up. It's really not that serious, and I'm talking to all you Virgos. Look at the patterns for your eating habits. For everyone, it will be different. For example, while Tammy, our son Niles, and I live in the same house, we eat pretty differently. I prefer salty foods. Tammy and Niles prefer sweet. Niles eats more carbohydrates and yogurts than we do. We eat more protein and raw vegetables and lacto-fermented foods than he does, but that's changing. But noticing your patterns, you'll know your next logical step. If you eat fast food 6 times a week, then your next step is to reduce that by half. You'll have some work to do, you have some planning ahead to do, and some shopping. As an example of what could be a next step toward improvement, like say your jam is cheeseburger and fries. Well, then a better option, next step, would be to buy pre-made burgers and frozen fries. Like make that substitute for the first week. Then the next week, make another small step from there and replace the fries for half a baked potato and a salad. Then from there would be maybe mix it up with some chicken or low mercury fish. Then get rid of the bun. Then reduce it to eating out only once per week. Do you see what I mean here? You have to think about what is a next natural step for you to reach for that's easy for you. Let's take another example. If you're someone who doesn't eat out often, but most of the food is prepackaged, boxed, and processed, take one meal, like breakfast, lunch, or dinner, and commit to making it from scratch because the ingredients will be better. Again, it will take some planning. If you love oatmeal, instead of instant, maybe make a big batch of steel-cut oats on the weekend in a crock pot, and then you can flavor it yourself, divide and refrigerate it into individual containers, one for each day of the week. Or instead of deli lunch meat, season and bake a whole chicken at the top of the week and slice the breast meat for sandwiches. And then you'll have the rest of it that you can use for dinners. If you're used to munching on chips while you sit on the couch and watch TV, transition to a healthier snack, a healthier chip, maybe a gluten-free cracker or popcorn, then carrots and hummus or nuts. If your food journal reveals that you drink a lot of sugary beverages per day, gradually cut back by one. So each week you're drinking less and less until you no longer crave them. Maybe instead of soda, you go to 100% juice, not juice concentrate. Then change that juice to herbal tea. If you drink your coffee with cream or with sugar, transition to less cream and honey or agave. If you see an absence of water on your journal, commit to drinking a full 16 ounces before you head out of the door for work each day. Lastly is another example. If you cook your meals, but you want to move toward more organic, then a great starting place is to check out the environmental working groups Clean 15 and Dirty Dozens list. This is an excellent starting point I think they update the list every year on what foods you absolutely need to stay away from and maybe even need to just take out of your diet if you can't, because not getting them organic isn't an option. Small changes over time will lead to the overhaul that you want. But if you try to make too many changes at once, and they are drastic ones, you're likely to be inconsistent and likely to be resentful. You'll also be unprepared and end up making bad decisions when you get thrown off of your schedule, your routine. Each week, commit to one small adjustment, and I promise you, before you know it, you'll start feeling better. Your body is designed to self-heal. Like, what you're doing, though, is adjusting this part of your lifestyle to encourage the body's natural healing processes. For all the folks, though, who are concerned that the food won't taste good, you'll be surprised how quickly your taste buds adjust when you stop fighting for what hurts you. Yes, McDonald's Big Mac, tastes amazing. I used to love it too. I bet I would probably still enjoy the taste today, but I know I won't love how it makes me feel afterward. And at some point, how you feel has to become your priority. I hope this video gives you a better idea on how to make small, logical changes from where you are today on your health journey. Let us know in the comments what's one small change you'll make this week to improve your gut health. Be sure to check out our video on making your own lacto-fermented foods too, which is critical for restoring gut health. Thanks so much for tuning in. Be sure to like and subscribe, hit the bell to be notified next week when we release a new video. Later.